Step 10. We continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong promptly admitted it. We as addicts suffer from a problem deeper than the drugs we took. Because of this, we must live by spiritual principles. Step 10 and all the steps are to be applied to every area of our lives. There is no area of our lives that the disease does not affect. The truth is that fear is present in every area of our lives. So in our experience, the program can and must be worked continuously in every area of our lives. If this were not so, then the disease could not creep into an unrelated area of our lives and kill us. Step 10 is a continuation of a fearless and searching look within ourselves in order to repair disorders that fear, pride, jealousy, and other ruinous defects can cause. It helps us avoid the occurrence of relapse due to other areas which we may be reluctant to look. If you take the drugs away from a drug-crazed maniac, you still have a maniac. Since our problems entail much more than using, we cannot recover until we recognize the need for taking a good look at our attitudes and motives. Now that we are clean, we have recognized the advantage of getting our own house in order. We can recognize ourselves as the heart of the problem. Negativity has been our way for many years and we are not able to change into complete saints. Any thought that we are going to be perfect has to be smashed. We must remain teachable if we are going to stay clean in this program. The smart ones who argue a lot usually die. The open-minded ones get to live. We do not entertain the thought of ever achieving perfection. However, we must strive for stability in our lives so that we can live happily and be at peace with ourselves. Step 10 helps us to do this. The process of inventory, the good and the bad about ourselves, is essential. As addicts, we are prone to fear, anger, vanity, complacency, and doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Many forms of the disease manifested in self-centeredness, fear, resentment, and so on can drive us into a place that we feel we cannot get out of clean. Are we doing our best? Are we staying honest? Are we still growing, or are we slipping back into the old fears and resentments? It is the purpose of the 10th step to answer these and similar questions. Those defects of character which we found in the 4th step are deeply ingrained in us. The thing we do is check for the surfacing of defects early on by working step 10 daily. How to take inventory that is effective will depend on the severity of the particular trouble we are having. We look at our actions during the day and we practice the art of looking at where we were wrong, considering what we could have done differently, and the amends we need to make. We find it helpful and humbling to admit to another human being where we were wrong. These are practical applications and theory has no place here. We work it or we will die. There is the inventory we can pause and make when we run into trouble during the course of the day. Stopping, thinking and remembering that by the grace of God we are clean is a basic. Often, when we get home, write out our resentment, explaining how we feel and how we became angry, and the part we played. We find out how to restrain ourselves later so we don't repeat that action. We do, however, remember that God, not us, is responsible for our change. The line between where God does or does not help us is absolutely irrelevant. All glory to God as we understand Him is our attitude here. We find when we have practiced this, we benefit, for pride can creep in and we addicts cannot handle success very well. We usually fall into the mode of the hero, and when this happens, our self-centeredness eats us alive and we can die. In step 10 we strive for genuine humility. In this humility we can better interact with others. We are not readily angered, frightened, or maddened by greed or lust. We remember our part in the divine partnership with God and we are more tolerant and patient with other people. Step 10 is worked while the day's ups and downs are fresh in our heads. We list wrongs we have done. We do not rationalize our actions. We honestly chalk up our achievements. Thus, we get our own house in order. We feel more room to grow. The mess is cleaned up. We know ourselves better and there is strength. A warning about rationalization is that it has killed more of us than anything else. At times, our motives will be obscured by clouded thinking. We can pray for humility and use it as a light to examine our real motives. Did we act out of negative emotion? If so, then we can work the program on it. If we want to share it at once with another person, we do. Others can help us see our clouded thinking for what it is. Love and pain will keep us in the middle of the road. We have defects, but a willingness to live as our higher power would have us as freedom. In life we will be tested in patience and tolerance. We must keep spiritually fit to act in a spirit of love and helpfulness. When we are willing to grow toward these ends, wonderful things are ahead. Continuing to take personal inventory means that we form a habit of looking at ourselves, our actions, our attitudes, and our relationships on a regular basis. We try to come up with honest evaluations and to put out more or less energy in certain areas we are concerned with. It is very important to keep sharing with other people so that when we come up with a rationalization for negative behavior, we can be told about it. This highlights the preventative part of the 10th step. You ask yourself as you go through the day, am I being drawn in by some old pattern of fear or resentment? Am I too tired? Am I too hungry? Is my thinking getting cloudy? It's a vaccination against insanity on a continuing basis. We have discussed the preventative side of the 10th step. The love was there all the time, waiting for us to accept it. Though we still face human pain, life finally begins to get meaningful. Clean living is possible when we rely on a higher power daily to provide us with spiritual progress, establishing us in useful living.